about the hierarchy of species on this planet. As a species, we're the worst thing that ever happened to this planet. Okay? Talk about hubris as a species. Talk about the damage we've done to other species, what we're doing. As a surfer for years and as a fisherman, as a horseman, I got to tell you, you mess with that. I mean, I see it as a fisherman. It's not the same as it was when I was surfing every day at Gilgo Beach, from the time I was 15 to God knows whenever, and surfing around the world. The ocean has changed. The species in it, some are dying and some are getting stronger where they shouldn't get stronger. Okay.
Yeah, you said like the ocean is getting like angrier, kind of. It's been like crazy these
Yeah.
days,
And
right?
what happens is, and people don't understand, with if and when that ocean dies,
We die.
we're dead. We're gone.
We're dead.
Species is
Yeah,
dead. We're done.
yeah,
It's over.
yeah.
And most people aren't that perceptive. They aren't that well educated, and they aren't. They live in such denial. I mean, I kind of most people can't get through life unless they live in a certain amount of self denial.
hmm
No, I mean, really, you laugh, you giggle, but it's true.
I'm giggling because I know that's what I mean. I feel like most people are in a state of denial and in lying to themselves and lying to everybody else.
Sure, like it's like when people put on put on a pair of jeans and go, "Does my ass look fat?" Oh yeah, the fat that doesn't look fat, it is fat.
Well,
It,
yeah,
that,
the majority of people are living unconsciously and living in this avatar that they've been,
right.
downloaded from their parents. And as you get an adult, hopefully you'll wake up and start like, you know, removing all of those things and taking out all the things that don't work for you and waking
Yeah,
up.
yeah. I mean, this goes speak again. This speaks to the play. I mean, for example, uh, the Edmund, who's the bastard. I mean, he talks about why. Well, how come I'm treated this way? I look good. I'm physically fit. I'm not stupid. Blah, 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 blah. And yet society treats me differently because I was illegitimate. He talks about the word illegitimate in the play,
hmm
and the people start to realize as they get older, well, certain customs, certain traditions in society are not they're they're artificial. I mean, there are so many things that I grew up looking at, and I don't know why this was the case, whether I was smarter than the average bear, even in my youth, or what it was. Maybe because I was a big reader and I just learned stuff. Um, I mean, certain things I just realized were utter twaddle, utter bunk.
hmm
And
hmm
I didn't buy into them. I
Yeah.
mean, I always talk about religion. I never, as much as my mother tried to I used to go to catechism classes.
Yeah. You just didn't buy into it.
No, I didn't. Not only that, I didn't feel it. I didn't
Yeah.
feel it. I
Yeah.
had no emotional connection to the notion of a God.
Yeah. Like even when you were young, it didn't
Yeah, and
resonate with
but
you.
not only that. I mean, I use religion as an example for me, but there are a lot of other things, even in politically, socially. I just go, well, no, this is nonsense. Why would I do this? Smoke. I'll give it smoking. I never understood why people smoked. Now you could tell me, well, it relaxes me, but it helps me sleep better. A
Yeah.
lot of people will say, well, I don't eat as much, so I stay slimmer, or whatever the excuses are. I'm going, well, wait a second. Why would you inhale this
Smoke.
foreign? Yeah, why would you do this to your
Why
body? I
would
don't.
you put toxic smoke
Yeah,
into your lungs and now you can't breathe properly? You're gonna kill yourselves.
I remember I was at a bus stop. I was in junior high school, and there were three or four of the how shall I say rowdier kids. They were older, and they would
Yeah.
wait for they would go into the bushes and smoke until the bus got there.
Yeah.
Okay, and I was 14, I guess. And they get go, oh, you sissy. They'd call me all kinds of mean names because I do. You want to smoke? I'm like, no, I don't want to. I don't. I just don't. I just didn't do it. Now, the good news was they weren't the kind of kids who were going to necessarily beat me up. They
Yeah.
would they would verbally abuse me and my friends, but they wouldn't. And of course, I always tell the story that the reason why I had no interest in smoking is that my mother would smoke. My father, my
So yeah,
father
you were already turned off by that.
Yeah, and of course, I always tell people my mother was what they used to call a glamorous smoker, because all
Yeah.
the famous actresses in movies would smoke. Okay, they look very glamorous looking when they,
Yeah.
but she never inhaled. However, but when she would smoke at dinner time, she would eat like a bird. Okay, so my father and my sister and I, we're all trying to have dinner, and there's, smoke billowing across the table. Can't taste anything, can't breathe, cough.
Well,
We're
see that
coughing.
that was your example and experience of smoking that now you don't like it.
But here's my point. My
Mhm.
point was I looked, I said, well, wait a second, this is not good. I can't, why would she do this? And I mean, what I'm saying is, I just said, it doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
And this is the thing, lots of things have never made any sense to me. I
Yeah.
also have to feel, and this is again, part of the thing with King Lear, especially with Edmund, how he feels about society. People make laws, and a lot of the laws are screwy. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, just because something is legal doesn't mean that it's moral.
No, just because the government tells you something doesn't mean that it's right.
Exactly right. You
Yeah,
got
like
to.
one prime example that happened with 9/11. Right after 9/11, the city was like, yeah, it's safe to go out. It's safe. You can go back home to, the area. It's perfectly fine. The air is safe for you to breathe.
Right.
And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? There is no way that the fucking air is safe to breathe. You
You,
gotta be kidding me that people actually believe this.
let
And
me
then,
tell you
of
something.
course, then you have all those lawsuits now about people getting sick
I,
breathing in the
I,
fucking.
I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to tell you who was absolutely brilliantly, knowledgeably perceptive about that was my wife. Now,
Mm-hmm.
remember, she at the time she was working in a hospital. She was a nurse administrator,
Yeah.
and a lot of nurses wanted to go and help out and take care of, after 9/11, go in and, still a horror, lots of toxic air and whatnot, but go in and help people who were injured and what have you.
Yeah.
And she kind of wanted to do that,
Yeah.
but the hospital said, no, you cannot do that. You are administrating this hospital, and we're not allowing you to do that.
Yeah.
But she did say to me within days, she said, well, Bill, I have to be honest with you. I haven't been allowed, but I mean, I would have had thought to think twice, because there is no way that air in that
Yes.
environment is
Yes.
safe to be
Exactly.
in. Okay. She
Exactly.
knew it. She knew it.
Exactly.
And I'm saying to myself, and then of course, subsequently over the years, she was proven so correct about that. I said, you know what?
Yeah. And that's the same thing I felt too. And I lived in Brooklyn at that time when that happened. And the air in the AC unit, I started developing a cough. And I
Ah,
just kept coughing and coughing. And I was like, there's gotta be some of that air that's filtering
sure,
into
sure,
Brooklyn. And
yeah,
it doesn't
yeah.
feel right. And for them to like publicly tell everybody it's safe, I'm like, no, this is not safe air. Like, I don't know
Yeah.
what you're talking about. Like how you can con everybody and lie to everybody that the air is safe. And people actually started believing it. Like, no, it's not safe. Are you
Yeah,
crazy?
I thought she was absolutely brilliant in
Yeah,
her comments and
assessment
perception about that.
about that. Yeah, exactly.
But
That's
I,
the
but
thing I
again,
felt.
yeah, but I also think that, like, I have a real problem. I mean, I have to say, I guess I basically from being, I guess, a very avid reader in my youth, I learned about a lot of different stuff from a lot of different authors and a lot of different ages and eras, whether from the ancient Greeks, the Romans, and on. I just kind of never accepted the notion that people who make laws should necessarily be uh, obeyed. In other words, or respected.
Mhm.
There are lots of bad. Hey, look at the laws you had in this country about slavery, where you were not allowed to teach slaves to read. Well, that was a law. Okay, that
Mhm.
was a law. Well, that was a shit law. Okay, that was.
There's all kinds of stupid laws.
Yeah, I mean, and of course, and by the way, slavery was legal. Well,
Yeah.
that was wrong. I mean, there are so many things that are wrong-headed in
Yeah, there's
law.
so many. And then like they started putting away like all these people for, smoking or selling weed.
Oh,
But now
wait, wait,
but
wait,
now
wait.
it's but now it's legal now. Now it's
Oh,
okay.
wait. My wife will tell you that in the mental institutions, they used to put homosexuals in mental institutions. They were considered to be crazy. Okay,
Hmm.
these people were as intelligent, some of them many well educated, men and women who were. What was the biggest problem? They were homosexual and considered to be perverted, unnatural. And here's the other thing. Anytime people say, well, homosexual is unnatural, I'm thinking, wait a second. If it happens in nature, it's natural. Let's get over that's what the word means, natural.
Yeah.
One of my favorite things too, they talk about like like you have hermaphrodites, right, in nature.
Yeah.
Nature says, okay, I'm putting out individuals who have the sex organs of both male and female.
Yeah.
Not and then in nature that people are like, a lot of people are they want to be transgender, or that well, okay, they have to do it with through medical means, but in nature, you know how many species of creatures are transgender? My personal favorite is the black sea bass, because I'm a fisherman. Black females, by the way, most of these species.
I was just thinking the same thing. I'm like, there's a fish that changes gender.
Yeah, well, that's something you'll know. And black sea bass, also a fish called the hogfish. It's a bunch of fish species. They generally start off as females.
Yes, I think I saw it. Yep.
Yeah, and then at the end, like with black sea bass, I think after about a decade, they end up as males. I also think with black sea bass, they alternate every couple of years. It's not just after 10 years, but depending on the species. All I'm telling you is transgenderism.
Yeah, it happens in nature. Yeah, I think that's hysterical, because that's exactly.
Oh, by the way, transvestitism in nature. Certain fish, they can do certain things with their exterior bodies to look like they're to be seductive as females, and vice versa. And I mean, what people don't understand is that. In fact, I read an article years ago that entomologists say that with insects, there are, quote, now this I have to research again, that there are literally 50,000 sexes in insects. Okay.
50,000 sexes in insects?
Now, I'd have to do more research. I wish I could find that article. But in other words,
you can just Google it.
Yeah. Now, I give you another thing. Most cultures that are not Christian, and most cultures that were especially like indigenous cultures, Indians, Polynesians, they believe in that there were not two genders, male and female. They believe there were four. Okay. And here's what they are. It's male, and then you have males presenting as females. And then you have females also sometimes presenting as males. And I noticed that right away growing up, that some men seem to be very, very effeminate.
Yeah.
Now, were they homosexual? Oddly, they were not. They were not, but they appeared to be way more feminine. Likewise, lots of women who, if you said to them, "Oh my God, you look and sound like a lesbian," they would have been offended, because they appeared and had mannerisms that were masculine,
but they weren't.
Right. So those relatively those non-Christian, relatively unsophisticated cultures, as we would have it, understood that there was more ways, gender-wise, to skin the proverbial cat than we thought. So I like I said, I know I've drifted from a little bit from King Lear, maybe a lot, but I think the issue is that when you talk about the great chain of being, when you talk about traditions, when you talk about order in the universe, what we have in our culture is anything that seems to be assailing what we consider, and certainly in our culture in America, the order of our universe, people get freaked out. They get fearful.
Well, I think it's more of a certain culture that hinders everybody else.
No question. Now, let me ask you, I mean, I'll be quite frank with you. I don't know that I would want to be. I could never live by the notions of this white nationalist, anti-everything culture. In other words,
well, I'm glad you said it. That's exactly what I'm saying.
No. Well, yeah, I mean, look, for example, I mean, if they had their way, you and I would not be having this conversation, because and fear is irrational. Let me tell you about fear real fast, because we should be ending it soon. But I used to always say to people about surfing, I used to equate it with bullfighting. And they go, how do you equate surfing with bullfighting? So it's real simple, because I used to know a lot about bullfighting. When I was in high school, I used to read about all the great bullfighters. Why? Because I used to, because of horses, I found
Mhm.
out that horses used to be in the bull ring. I don't want to go through the whole thing, but anyway, I came through my knowledge of bullfighting because of my love and interest in horses.
Mhm.
They raised those bulls. They're called Miura bulls, Miura, Miura bulls. They're specially bred to charge and to kill. That's what they're bred. They're not bred for milk. They're not bred for food. They're bred to do exactly what they do in the bullfighting. They are bred to charge like crazy, okay, and try
Mhm.
to kill the matador. So, uh, but what does the matador do? And of course the traditional classic Spaniards would say, "Oh my God, these excellent matadors." They were graceful. If you look, they had these what they call the suit of lights, and it was skin tight so that they could get as close to the bull as possible without getting gored. And they had the cape and what they called the muleta, okay, and they
Mhm.
had their sword wrapped at the top of the cape, whatever. So the whole thing was a matter of life versus death, and that the human who is skilled, artistic, and courageous would and could defeat death if he was talented enough. And by the way, sometimes the bull would win. Sometimes the bull would kill the matador.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So what's the difference between how does that relate to surfing? The matador is afraid. They'll maybe know always, but but what they're saying. But here's what the matador must do to be successful. He must conquer and control his fear, and have confidence in his artistry and talent and skills to be able to defeat the bull.
Mhm.
Same thing with surfers. Most surfers won't necessarily, sometimes they'll say it, but especially when I started to surf when I started surfing bigger waves. Now
Mhm.
they're surfing 65, 75-foot waves. That's crazy. Those people are crazy.
What was the highest you think you did?
Oh, I know. Highest waves I've ever been on were between 20 and 25 feet. That's what I'm talking about, 2 to 2.5 stories,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
you'd have no idea what that's like when you are paddling out and you see this monster thing coming toward you, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
These guys who are being towed in on these jet skis and stuff. That's another realm. I could, even in my youth, I could never have done it.
That's
Why?
I know. I've seen some
But
videos.
listen, but
Crazy.
listen. But here's my point about the bullfighting. The surfers who are starting to surf with bigger and more scary and more dangerous waves, it's not that they're not afraid. They are afraid. There's a certain level of, I remember the first time I went down to 20, about a 20-foot plus wave. I screamed in terror and exhilaration. It was a combination. I
Mhm.
was so jazzed. My adrenaline was pumped up, but I was also scared to death. Okay. Now I made that first wave, right? But my point is, the key was I believed that I could survive that wave. I said, I've got the talent, I've got the skill, I've got the physical fitness. I'm a great swimmer, ocean swimmer. I can do this. If I can do this and survive, I can maybe go for another wave. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? I
Mhm.
had to conquer my fear. Okay. Just like the bullfight had to conquer his fear to be able to be triumphant. Now, that's something that people don't understand. Okay. Now, most people in this culture, especially, are fearful and don't know or don't know. They don't know how to conquer their fear, to control their fear, and get past it. Okay. Uh, and now, of course, these like the Republicans they push this fear of the other, and of course, reason they can get away with that. So many white people, for example, have no relationships with or familiarity with people of other colors and other religions. I mean, this goes back to why it was a wonderful thing to be working at Central ISA. I probably dealt with more Black people, Latino people, Asian people in that building every day than most people ever see in their entire lives.
Yeah.
Okay,
Totally. Totally.
that makes a difference, and so
Mhm.
I'm not afraid of Black people. I'm
Yeah.
not afraid. I'm afraid of bad Black people. I'm
Mhm.
afraid of bad Asian people. I'm afraid of criminal bad white people. That's
Yeah.
different. In other words, it's not about their color. It's not about culture. It's
Yeah.
about the kind of individuals they are or not. You
Yeah.
know.
Exactly.
So this brings me. I'm going to end this up with
Yeah.
King Lear again. You'll
Perfect.
notice this is a new shirt. You've never seen it before. And
I
you
know.
notice fall color. See the
Yeah.
orange? Just
Yes.
so you know.
Mhm.
You know? This is it's now meteorological fall.
32.
32.
We're gonna have to do like a 30-day binge and do one every single day.
Oh yeah, please, please. Even I can't talk that much. How about that?
Yes, you can.
Yeah. I just said, yeah, I can.
You can. You can. You'll have to do it like Monday through Friday, like school.
That's true. I can do that. Now, see, and it's funny you say that, because when I talk to like customer service people, I've been talking to a lot of them, between T-Mobile and Apple and whatever. And they'll always say to me, like, sometimes they'll ask me, like, they'll ask me like my age and stuff, or my year that I was born. When I tell them 1945 and I'm 78, they go, "You don't sound 78. Oh my God." And I said, "Well, thank you very much," because it goes, "You don't sound like you're even like, 50, you're like 55 or something." I said, "Well, probably the real reason is, yes, I've always been youthful. Yes, I have an enthusiastic personality, but also when you speak to, when, I was, as a teacher, I was doing 5 shows a day. The Captain Willie show,
exactly.
5 times a day, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking anywhere from 15 to 25 kids, all right? Then, of course, at the university, then I do my monthly book discussions, and as a consequence, I have to project so people can hear me.
Yeah.
Especially in the classroom, they have to hear me in the back of the room.
Yeah.
So it's kept my voice from becoming like people who, when they get older, it starts to get like frail sounding, and scratchy, and something like that. So I mean, hey, my time is probably coming, but still right now, so far so good. Which reminds, so
exactly.
I mean, some of the things I say in that room, you'd be shocked. No, you wouldn't be shocked. You're in one of my high school students.
I would not be shocked. I think I've heard everything that comes out of your mouth.
Well, a lot. Not everything, but a lot.
Not everything, but a lot. A good amount.
I'm starting my cocktail hour about a half hour. This is,
you got to send me some of your cocktails so we can
well,
drink.
this is the good stuff. This is Johnny Walker Black. I'm drinking it neat, most of the times I'll put like my bourbon on the rocks and stuff, but talking about world literature, and also talking about, let's say, most of the places around the world, and certainly in England, in Great Britain, they'll drink like hard liquor like this, especially if it's a good Scotch. They'll drink it neat. They drink it without ice.
How is it neat? What is it neat?
That's what they mean by neat. That's what they mean. Neat means without ice.
No ice. Okay.
No ice. Okay. No ice. But it's not an acronym for no ice. It just says that's the traditional adjective they use. I'll have like 2 shots of Johnny Walker Black neat.
Neat.
So now, of course, in England, they were known for, like with beer, they were known for not drinking their beer cold. They drink
really?
Yeah, they always drank it at room temperature. I think they still do that. I think they keep it. I guess they keep some cold for American tourists. Like Guinness, they would drink it, room temperature, and but